The property inspections notice goes hand in hand with the property inspections addendum. In fact, every time a buyer completes an inspection pursuant to the property inspections addendum, this notice should be used to let the seller know how the buyer wishes to proceed. So the first substantive choice is to let the seller know which inspection this notice applies to. In this instance, we'll move forward with the structural and mechanical, which is the most general inspection that is performed. So this is part one of this document, where the buyer actually sets forth all of their requested repairs. Now, it's important to note that this document will be passed back and forth. The buyer sends it to the seller, then the seller will mark section 3, then they send it back to the buyer so that they may complete section 4. Let's go back quickly to the property inspections addendum, which sets forth the timelines for all of these responses. In the property inspections addendum, if you scroll down to buyer's specific right to terminate, it says that after the buyer provides the property inspections notice to the seller has 5 days to provide a response. The seller then will decide if they will repair some, all, or none of the conditions noted by the buyer. After that, the seller sends it back to the buyer, and the buyer has 2 days to decide whether they would like to terminate the contract or waive the right of repair or correction. So going back to the property inspections notice, or PIN, the buyer has 3 choices at the outset. They can select option A if they are not requesting any corrective action. Section B applies only if parties have pre-negotiated and agreed that buyer will have a unilateral right to terminate the contract based on an unsatisfactory inspection. In that event, if the buyer wished to terminate, they would be able to select option B. Option C is quite common. This is what you would do if a buyer has completed an inspection, they've received the full report, and they wish to ask the seller to accomplish some repairs. So here, you are required, in addition to this PIN, to attach a copy of the entire inspection report. And here you would list the repairs that you wish the seller to make. Many top producers will try to group these in a user-friendly manner. Say you could combine multiple electrical requests or plumbing requests, just to make it easy and not too overwhelming for the seller. If there is a picture cited in the report, it's also best practice to make reference to that picture so that the seller knows exactly what repairs are being requested. Please also note that if there's not enough room on this page, there is additional space on the following page. And also you may attach additional pages if necessary. After you list everything that the buyer would like to be repaired, the buyers would sign in section 2. After sending to the seller then has 5 days to respond to the notice. If the seller selects A, they agree to complete all corrective action. If they select option B, they're stating that they will not complete any corrective action. In section C, they decide that maybe they will repair some of the corrective action, but not all of it. So here is where the seller would list the unsatisfactory conditions that they will repair. Additionally, the seller has an option to provide a credit in lieu of certain repairs. So if any credit is to be issued, they should select option D and provide that dollar amount as well. This could be in addition to repairs they've agreed to or in lieu of repairs. The seller would sign this section and then send it back to the buyer. Then the buyer will have 2 days to decide how to proceed. They would select A if they're happy with the seller's response, they are waiving any additional corrective action, and the contract is moving forward. Additionally, if there were a credit offered, they would select B if they accept that credit. Finally, option C is appropriate if the buyer is not satisfied with the seller's response and they wish to terminate the contract. They would sign here, and then the property inspections notice is complete.